All right, good evening, everybody. I am Jaxler, and I'm going to be your runner for the next 2 games here. So this first one we're going to be starting off with is Whiplash. If you've never heard of Whiplash before, this game is really, really cool, but kind of under the radar. If you've heard of the games Jaxler the Gecko and Jax3 Deep Cover Gecko, this is the game that Team Crystal Dynamics did after they made the Gex games, and it was released on PS2 and Xbox in 2003. Gameplay-wise, this game stars a weasel chained to a rabbit, and you use the rabbit as a whip and destroy a bunch of private property. This game rules. So that being said, this run is pretty fast-paced and technical, and it has a lot of stuff going on pretty much right at the start of the run. So I'm actually going to go ahead and explain one of the speed tech that I'm going to be doing in this run that's pretty fundamental to almost all of the skips in this game. Which is something called triple jumping. So I've hopped in the game here, and as you can see, by default, I only have 2 jumps and this hover. But we actually have access to a glitched triple and quadruple jump as well. And that is done by jumping, doing a light attack, canceling the light attack with a heavy attack, and then if you do that sequence of inputs close enough to the ground, it tricks the game into thinking you're still touching the floor, and that lets you get your double jump back. So it looks something like this. And you see I can scale all the way up to the top here, so my double jump doesn't even clear me up over the top. But with this triple jump input, I can get all the way up here. And then using that concept, we can also apply that to do a quadruple jump to get us even higher, which is done something like this. Like that. And that lets me get all the way on top of the 4th one. And so that one's just a matter of spacing where I do 2 hops in a very specific pattern in order to put me at the maximum possible distance away from the floor to get the glitch to continue to work. So that lets us get up to here, and then we can use a triple jump to get about yay high. And so there's pros and cons to both of them. Obviously, the quadruple jump gives us the height that we need to do certain skips. But the triple jump has the advantage of better aerial control and also just less APM in general. So on average, I'm going to be going about 70-30 between distribution between triple jumps and quad jumps. So I just wanted to go into the game to show you folks what that looks like because pretty much less than 2 seconds into the start of the run, I'm going to be doing 2 triple jumps back to back. And if I tried to explain triple jumps while I was doing them like that, they would make absolutely no sense. So we're going to go ahead and log back out here, and I think I'm pretty much set to go. Helix, I have a question for you.
Unfortunately, we have not met that incentive, but do you know how we make up for this?
How do
we make up for this by meeting this glitch exhibition incentive?
Abso-frickin-lutely. All right, that's totally fine. So what we do in RTA speedruns for this game is we normally what we do, and which is what we're going to do tonight, is we make a copy of a save file that it has an autosave past the opening cutscene. It's a 3-minute unskippable cutscene, which is normally slow for a speedrun, so we just start time on first input. But it's also a really funny cutscene, so I recommend just playing this game. This game has a really great sense of humor to it. I mean, again, this was made by the people who made Gex, so you can imagine what kind of writing style that would lend itself towards. But I'm ready to get started when you folks are. We're good to go? Okay. So time is going to start roughly 5.5 seconds after I press the A button here. So I'm going to press the button. I'm going to have everyone in here count me in. All right? So let's get started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, so like I said, we immediately start off the run with a series of 2 triple jumps in order to clip ourselves out of bounds. One of the big themes of this game and the way that its levels are structured is that a lot of the collision boxes for the walls are only high enough to cover for 2 basic jumps. And because we can triple jump, we can just jump over a lot of walls in this game. And so we did that there in order to jump out of the slide, which allowed us to skip a bunch of mandatory intro cutscenes. Now we're getting a little bit of an introduction to combat. Holy moly, we got a Happy Meal. Okay, so that's really good luck. In this game, there's a sort of experience system with these hyper snack bags where you can allocate them either to Sphinx, the weasel here, and that upgrades his maximum HP and a couple other minor things. Or you can give them to Redmond the rabbit and increases attack. And so I got super lucky there, and I got a drop of 4 hyper snacks from a single scientist, which means we're pretty much going to be set to go on our experience throughout the run, and I don't have to do any backups for this run, which is really, really lucky.
Sorry for holding you back.
So right here, we're going to be dashing under here, and I'm going to be doing another set of 2 triple jumps. Again, the same principle still applies, where they didn't really make the collision boxes on these walls tall enough, so we can just jump right over and skip breaking all of the security terminals in order to get through there normally. Okay, that could have been really bad. So this is my first usage of a quadruple jump. We can use it, this is a little tricky. There we go. So we can use that to jump on top of an accent light that's kind of hidden up there as just sort of like a aesthetic effect. It has a collision box for some reason, and we can use that as a platform to reset our double jump and use that to get past the wall. And a lot of the doors in this game are locked by a variety of different little mini games, like that one right there. We basically throw our rabbit into like a grinder of sorts in order to like break open the lock. It's kind of silly, but we'll be skipping a lot more of those. I'm going to attempt to, so as you saw right there, that pressure pad triggers an alarm which closes the door. So you're normally intended to destroy it because you are playing as a weasel chained to a rabbit. What do you think we're supposed to do? But we're just going to skip that, and then this is one of the hardest quad jumps right here. Almost got a second try. That would have been hype. Okay, third try is pretty good. So we're going to use this to get out of bounds, and then I'm going to tiptoe until I have camera control again, and this will let us stay out of bounds. And so what this is going to do is let us get past this glass door right here. Normally the way that this level is set up is you have to break 4 metal support beams in order to basically dismantle a giant globe-shaped structure, which becomes a giant bowling ball, which destroys the glass doors. But because we can go out of bounds, we can just break the game that way instead of the intended way to break the game. So this is pretty much a movement section here as we get our way into the main hub of the game. That was sort of like the intro tutorial set of levels. So let's talk a bit about the movement. So if you look below the health bar at the top left of the screen, there's another green bar below that, which is my stamina. And this is going to be an odd comparison, but it works pretty much like how it does in Dark Souls. So if I hold down the sprint button, I will continue to drain stamina until I let go. And in the speedrun, what I want to do is make sure that my stamina never drops below 0. Because if it does, I have to wait for the stamina bar to recharge all the way back. And so then that gives me a longer time before I can have access to my sprint. So there'll be some of that I'm going to be doing throughout the run. We're going to do an intentional autosave and reload here in order to get some collectibles to spawn in here in a second. And then I have to do a bit of a tricky sequence of jumps. You're going to see me do a triple jump onto a light fixture, and then a quadruple jump off of that, which has a very small hitbox to even stand on. And that's going to let me get up here and grab these 4 hyper snacks much earlier than we're supposed to be able to. All right, so we got that first try, so that's pretty good, but we are nowhere out of the woods yet. This is one of the trickier parts of the run. We're going to do a big high jump up to here, grab some 2 more hyper snacks for free. The way that we have this routed is we want to make sure that we reach level 4 by the time we get to a level called Ventilation, because it'll make some of the enemies easier to deal with. All right, so now we're coming up on one of the hardest skips in the run. I'm going to take a safety save here, because it basically loses no time, because we can do this quadruple jump to get up and over it. And this is where the hard part goes. We're essentially going to skip 2 levels with this trick, and this is going to require some concentration, so I'd like to ask for some quiet time from the room, and I'll let you know when I hit it. Hopefully first try. Saved it. Not out of the woods. Clip back in bounds. Okay, that was a good try. So, you have to walk a very fine line there where part of your body is clipped through the wall and part of it is still inbound so you can stay on the platform. Because either what happens is you clip back inbounds or you fall into the void and that loses a bunch of time. So let's give this another shot. Okay, so backed off a little bit too early on the last ledge. I almost had it second try there. So we're going to go ahead and take the autosave, and we're going to give it another go. This trick saves an inordinate amount of time, somewhere in the range of hours, because we're going to skip 2 really, really big levels with this. And then once we do this skip, it's going to let us get to a place where we can skip all the rest. Yeah, so this will take me a couple tries. So again, I'm going to ask for quiet time here while I try to line this up. This is a little bit tricky to do under pressure, so give me just a second here. Good. I don't want this. Yeah, okay. So I did clip back inbounds inside that room. That's what I'm talking about with that little tightrope walk that I have to, where I have to be partly inbounds and partly out of bounds, so that doesn't happen where I clip back into the room. It's a little bit faster. I could just go walk around, but it's actually a little bit faster to reload in here. So even though this is like a 21-minute long speedrun, this is part of the reason why the estimate is so comparatively high, is because this trick exists, and another one called the electricity upgrade skit, which we'll hopefully get to in a little bit here. This will probably work. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Almost there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. We're in. Nice. All right. So that could have gone a little bit better, but essentially there's 2 levels that you have to beat to unlock the door to the elevator chamber. But the elevator's always loaded, so if you can clip around it, you can just get up the elevator and skip those 2 levels. All right, now right here is something called key card skip, and this is going to allow us to skip the rest of the other 5 major sectors of the game. Let's see how quickly I get this. I was having a bit of trouble with this in practice earlier. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're over the top. That's the hard part. Now what I'm going to do is there is an electricity fence that is normally disabled after you get all 7 of the... Uh-oh. Yeah, okay. Almost got it. Yeah, so I have to do a triple jump essentially around an electric fence that goes out partly out of bounds. So I got the hard part, which is a good sign. But I'm going to have to give this another go here. This is another one of those tricks where I have to ask for quiet time because this is a bit tricky to line up. So I appreciate y'all's patience. Triple jump up here, and essentially I'm doing a triple jump around this ceiling here to hopefully give me the height to get over the wall on the other side. Looks good. Nice, we clipped over. That's a good sign. That looks way better. Okay, not completely out of the woods yet. We got to do 2 quadruple jumps. We got to do 1 to get on top of the security sphere, for lack of a better term. Then we'll do another one to jump over the wall here. And then we can clip through in here, and we're up the elevator. Okay, we got it. Whew. I will take second try. That trick can be a little bit annoying to do under pressure. So that we just skipped like 95% of the game. We're like maybe 8 minutes into the run already. So that's pretty cool. But now we're going to be going into Gen Run Lobby. This part of the run is really scary because in terms of like the experience, like see how I just took 8 points of damage there, and I only have 10 health. Most of the enemies in here will 2-shot you, if not 1-shot you. So you got to be really careful here. So right here, there's a bit of water, and the game's going to lag and then eventually let me through the wall. Don't worry about it. This is going to let us take a little bit of an improvised shortcut. It's going to let us get down to the other side of this hallway and let us skip a bunch of the intended platforming. I'm going to hit this button here for safety, and I also grab a free HP refill. Again, I have to be really careful about the enemies because the checkpoints can be a little brutal in this game sometimes. So I really got to make sure I preserve my health. So I hit that button earlier, which allows these tether points to activate. And I'm going to attempt to do kind of a... It's faster to actually skip hitting the button, but obviously I hit it, you know, just in case for marathon safety. Let's see if I can't get this. Nice. Okay, second try. That's actually really good. So that quadruple jump, you have to have almost perfect height off of your final jump in order to clear over the edge there, and that's a lot easier said than done. So pretty happy to get that second try there. All right, so now we're heading into ventilation. So we hit level 4 as we were making our way to that quadruple jump location. And that's going to allow us to have increased damage output as we deal with one of the exterminators in here. But more critically, it's going to increase our damage output against the final boss as well here. So we're going to fill our rabbit with helium, and that's going to turn him into a balloon. This game is amazing. I'm gonna say this at the end of the run as well. Please play this game. It's on PS2 and original Xbox. I don't believe it's backwards compatible, but please play this game however you can. This game is really, really cool, and I really appreciate the Midwest Speedfx folks for allowing me to show it off at its first marathon. Because, you know, not a lot of people have played this, and hardly any people have ever tried speedrunning it. So really, really appreciate it. This ventilation shaft, however, is pretty straightforward. It's mostly going to be same kind of fundamental movement stuff. We're going to be attempting to conserve my stamina in specific spots in order to make sure I never run out. But we're going to be doing basically most of this as intended because this level is very vertical. So Helix, this would be a great time if you have any messages you'd like to read out.
You said the sentence, I'm gonna fill my rabbit with helium.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. This is why we have you on. I have 2 donations here. There's $25 from Conception, who just played Pokemon Pearl for us. Okay, fine. Camper Curtis got me. Are you happy with yourself, Curtis? $5 for the extra trainer, and $20 just because I love y'all. And following that is an anonymous $76 donation. There is no comment, but thank you so, so much. This puts the glitch exhibition for Neopets just $25 away from being met.
Oh my god.
And perhaps even more impressively, we have passed $3,500 raised for Children's Cancer Research Fund.
Wow. Thank you all so much. So to talk about that a little bit, I'm doing the next run as well, which is Neopets The Darkest Fury for the Sony PlayStation 2. And I'm going to be doing, hopefully, if you all donate, a glitch exhibition after the end of that run. So you still have the whole end of this run as well as the whole Neopets run to meet that. And you are going to want to meet that donation incentive. I haven't really spoiled this to anyone too much yet, but I'm going to be showing off some stuff that really hasn't been previously seen outside of the community before. So if you like glitchy broken nonsense, make sure you get that met.
Yeah, some of the stuff that's going to be in this glitch exhibition, like even I haven't seen it. It wasn't even in the submission video.
Nope. And I didn't let Helix see it either, because no spoilerinos. Unless you were looking over my shoulder when I was practicing in the corner over there. I was literally practicing in the corner over there. Like I took one of the Trinitron PVMs and just put it on a chair and was just playing with my head tilted at an angle because I was desperate for practice. So hopefully that will have paid off because this game can be pretty tricky. I guess if you have time for one more message, Helix, this would be a good time.
I will announce that we have some new incentives open. There is the character choice for Super Mario 3D World. That will be sort of a rolling bid war, so that will remain open during that run. And if the lead changes during that run, the runner can just switch to the new character. So that'll be really fun. There's also the custom car skin for Hot Wheels, and you can have the runner sing the Pinky and the Brain song during Animaniacs. So those 3 incentives are open.
All right, so we're going into one of this is actually the first one of these we're really going to be seeing. Well, we saw one of them earlier actually, but essentially you just throw your rabbit into the machinery here, and it breaks the lock. So that's kind of why we did some of those quadruple jumps at the start of the game, because they do tend to take a fair bit. And now we're going into the spaceship hangar, which is has some really cool strats in it. Am I alive? Okay, I am alive. Sweet. Okay, that was a little bit risky. So right here, we're going to be doing a really interesting death abuse strat, where we're actually going to be landing in the kill plane in the void by using a quad jump to reach the kill plane for a platforming challenge much deeper into the level. And because we touched that, the game just assumes that our checkpoint should be much further into the level than it actually is, which lets us skip a good chunk of the platforming. And then right there, oh, I almost had it. All right, let me try to go for this again. What I'm trying to do is triple jump around the side of this so I can avoid all the really annoying obstacles here. This is a bit tricky because I have to actually point my camera as soon as I turn around here. And just because of the way that the movement works in this game, it's kind of hard to explain unless I put a controller in your hands. But we can do one more little triple jump up there, and that gets us into the spaceship. All right, this is probably the part I'm the most worried about, which is arguably one of the, if not the hardest tricks in the run, which is the electricity upgrade skip. And so normally in the 7th and final level of the game, before you do all the backtracking in the casual play, you get an upgrade that allows you to tether to electrified grapple points. But because we never picked that up, I have to do a really hard skip here in order to sequence break past it. So wish me luck. I'll try to explain how this works, hopefully after I hit it, but we'll see. So we're going to wait for that tether point to come down, and I'm going to ask for some quiet time here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. Angle looks good. Height looks good. Slam. First try. Let's go. Okay, so the reason why that's really hard is, first of all, we have to do a bunch of triple jumps just to be able to reach that grapple point. And then on top of that, essentially what we're doing is getting Spanx and Redmond to start essentially swinging back and forth because the point at which we launch at can actually give us more distance. So like if I were to like, swing forward and then launch, I would, start a little bit higher into the air. So what I have to essentially do to make that skip work is do the regrab in such a way, or the retether in such a way that my final swing forward and the apex of that distance coincides with the top of the up and down moving tether's like trajectory. So I have to get essentially both of those cycles to align. And then on top of that, I have to make full use of both of my jumps, my hover, and an extra slam at the end just to barely be able to make the distance. So I'm really glad that I got that first try, because I could have spent like not the rest of the estimate. I'm being a little hyperbolic, but that's a skip I was really scared about. So yeah, we're pretty much already coming up towards the end of the game here, wildly enough. We got one more of these contraptions to destroy here to open the door, and then we're going to be breaking into the CEO's office. So essentially, like, the story of this game is Redmond and Spanx are animals that are kind of being, like, tested on by, like, a science facility, or a science company, for lack of a better term. And the entire game is about them trying to not only escape themselves, but also free all the other captive animals as well. But we can free ourselves. Oh, that's not going to work. Let's give this another shot. So yeah, this ceiling is just not solid. So you can triple jump right through it. And then from here, this lets us go essentially straight into the final boss arena. Now, we're doing things completely out of order here, to the point that this bookcase stuff where we're supposed to break these, which then frees the Council of Monkey. Essentially, this is part of the second to last phase of the final boss. And it's still active because normally, like, the final boss cutscenes put you past this location. But because we clipped out of bounds and got to this location early, we can just break the bookshelves ourselves. And that tricks the game into putting us straight into the final phase of the boss fight after we get through this bit. So we got one more half of the Council of Monkey to free. There's a skunk on each side as well. Those will become important too, but I just like calling them the Council of Monkey because it just sounds funny. I mean, they are monkeys, but calling them the Council of Monkeys is objectively funny, so I'm going to continue to do that. So yeah, now we're going to go into the final boss, who's sitting over there. We're going to wait for him to get up, because the game is a little bit broken at the moment. And we're going to be going up against the CEO of Genron here, who hates animals with a burning passion for some lore-related reason. I don't know, maybe one of them just looked at him funny or something like that. But the way that this boss fight works is, I'm going to go back. Oh, I died. That's okay. So this is why this boss fight is terrifying, because you will die in 2 hits the most attacks. The way that this boss fight is supposed to go is you can only damage him when he is essentially skunked on by these radioactive skunks from the Genron testing. So what we're going to do is kind of soften him up a little bit here at the start until he hits us. Because there's not too much that we can really do when we're on the ground out here in order to really deal with him. So I'm going to go ahead and back off. And we're going to do some really funny cheese strats. So I'm going to go ahead and double jump back over the invisible wall like we were doing earlier. Oh, that's not good. He might be stuck there. Let's see if he can run off. Oh, he got himself unstuck. I'm so proud of you. So essentially the way that this cheese strat works is these glass walls are normally supposed to despawn just through the events of the final boss. But because of how we sequence broke this, they never spawn. So what we can essentially do is get him into a loop where he's just running straight into the wall and just hit him through the wall. And as you can already tell, you can already hear, he's going to say a bunch of incredible quotable lines here, such as, not the suit, anything but the suit. Oh god, I accidentally clipped back through the wall, so I'm going to have to back this up real quick. So that's one of the things you have to be really careful about when you're doing this, is you want to get close enough to the wall that you can actually hit the boss. But if you're too close, you can either walk back through the wall and not be able to stay out of bounds. Or what can happen is if you're too close, he can actually hit you through the wall sometimes if your spacing is perfectly imperfect, as I like to say. So I have to be really, really careful. And you see how he kind of just like teleported forward? He likes to do that like nothing personnel kiddo thing and just like teleport and go into like motion blur mode and then just instant kill you. So that's a big reason why we're standing behind these invincible glass walls here. So yeah, the Council of Monkey are kind of going to town on him. What I'm gonna do here is what I was trying to do is a 3-hit combo into a heavy attack, and that'll cause him to like sometimes go flying into the air, and that can actually get some of the monkeys here distracted. I'm actually gonna go ahead and do that now because he's in a pretty unfavorable position. And the monkeys actually do a really good job of pushing him away from the wall, which is exactly the opposite of what I want. And so, yeah, this is essentially how the final boss is going to roll. We're kind of a little bit at the mercy of the AI of both the boss and the monkey and the skunks. So we're kind of just vibing here for a bit, and time will be on final hit, but we still got a couple of minutes here. Again, we're so low level at this point that we can only really chip away at his health. Because we skipped like so many of like the intended spots where you pick up extra experience and stuff, we're only at like damage level 4. So it takes us a little bit to chip through all the HP here. But Helix, I guess if you have anything more you'd like to share with us, that would be a good time.
I have good news. There's an anonymous $25 donation that says, when I walked in the door, I thought to myself, gee whiz, I sure hope I get to see a rabbit get filled with helium tonight. Jaxler, you never fail to deliver. Speaking of delivering, let's see those Neopets glitches. We have, in fact, met that incentive. We will be having a Neopets glitch
Let's
exhibition.
go!
I was on my way to recover.
Thank you all so much for your donations. That is absolutely incredible. We've been workshopping a lot of the stuff in that really hard, so I'm really excited to share that with you folks tonight. So
I'm unbelievably excited to see it.
Yeah.
Neopets the Darkest Fairy might sound like a game you can afford to miss, but you would be mistaken. Do not miss
don't
that
do
run.
it. Don't do it.
I've seen it. I can tell you it's absurd. Do not miss it.
All right. So we're still waiting on the skunks here a little bit. I don't have too much to say that I haven't already, but Helix, how are you doing? I don't know. I'm making up things to talk about. How are you doing?
A little tired. I've been doing lots of Speedfest stuff, but still very excited for Neopets.
How was
I'm
the
very,
pizza?
very happy to have you.
How was your pizza?
Marathon.
We had pizza earlier tonight.
Pizza was good. I like pizza. Well, what's your favorite kind of pizza, audience? Just shout it out.
Shout it out or put it in a donation. Let us know. Did somebody say pineapple?
Somebody
Who
did say
heard you?
pineapple. I'm also a pineapple on my pizza enjoyer, so.
No,
you know
I
what?
don't mind whatever people put on their pizzas. I'm just, it's low-hanging fruit. It's easy to target and make fun of people.
Yeah,
No.
tell us in a donation too. why
Yeah.
not? We do have some more incentives open, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, these monkeys are absolutely clobbering the CEO. Unfortunately, they do no damage. I've also been getting... Unfortunately, this fight's been going pretty slow. I've been getting really unlucky with the skunks here. And the monkeys as well. But on top of that, in another way, this has been pretty straightforward and safe. There's one attack that I'm particularly worried about from the CEO here that he can do. If he raises his cane up and like slams it down, the shockwave from that attack actually goes through the wall. And I have to be able to react in time to jump over that. So luckily he hasn't done that yet. Luckily there is it's a pretty obvious visual cue as to when he decides to do it. But we're coming up on the end of his HP bar here. It's going to take a couple, like 1 or 2 more skunks to get through it. So time is going to be on final hit. So I'll just say to get ready on time, and then we'll just hope that the CEO decides to cooperate here. So, come on, buddy. Nope, it's going to be another skunk. Yeah, these monkeys, like, there's a lot of monkey business going on. Okay, get ready on time. Nope, time. There we go. Literally the second he was about to go invincible. All right,
Did you know
hold on.
that weasels
Great cutscene.
and rabbits are natural enemies in the wild? I'm fired.
I'm fired. Best ending line of any game I have ever played. So yeah, that was Whiplash. I think I mentioned it a little bit earlier during the run, but this is the first time this game's ever been featured in a speedrunning marathon before. So I was really delighted when I got accepted with this game. I mean, as well as Neopets, but especially this game. because I know it's kind of a silly little game here, but this game, like controls-wise, it feels so good. This is such a good 3D platformer, and it's just really funny. It's got a lot of charm to it, and actually, it's a really big game too. Like, it took me something like 16 to 20 hours to beat. There's just a lot to this game. There's also this epic cutscene as well, but I would be selling it short just by telling you it. So go ahead and play this game. This game is awesome. So I guess on top of that, I want to shout out Ruik. Ruik is a speedrunner from the UK who routed and ran this game about 10 years ago. And a lot of the stuff that you just saw in this run was due to him and a combination of a couple other glitch hunters. So shout outs to those folks for making this speed game happen. And I just, want to shout out all my friends here at Midwest Speed Fest and all my speedrunning friends who continue to inspire me to do stuff like this.
Seriously. Maybe we can sue someone.
Maybe we can sue someone. It's a great cutscene. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and swap over to the next game. Again, thank you all for meeting the Glitch Exhibition incentive for Neopets. We're going to go ahead and swap over and start to get that set up. But thank you so much for checking out Whiplash.
Okay.
See you folks in just a moment.
Let's do it.